Oh, good morning.
We were
so busy getting back to our childhood. Welcome back to Starting Point with Uli Herdi and my partner here.
Yes, I'm the child here. I'm Aisha Fabian. So today we are celebrating World Children's Day. That's why the table is so full. And I bring my own collection as well.
That's so cute. She still sleeps with those.
Yeah, I know. I'm still a child.
She is still a child inside, so that's why she's the perfect host for today's episode of Starting Point. We're going to talk about children. We're going to have experts to chip in and tell us how we should treat our children better and how we can help them develop as a better adults later in the future. So today's is observed every November 20, marking the moment United Nations declared that children, no matter where they come from, have the right to grow, learn, feel safe, and of course, be heard.
Yes, because it was a declaration made in around 1959. It's so people will get more attention to their children, to give more attention to their children. And especially nowadays, we also have to think about how it has shifted as well. Like,
what do you mean?
Like the kids nowadays, they learn how to navigate gadget
and social media as well.
And social
That's true.
media.
That's a real issue these days.
Yep.
I mean, back then when children were still playing around outside, and now it's the era of video games, of social media, and probably children these days learn how to open an application faster than us finding a remote for our TV.
And also they can even navigate gadget earlier than they can even write their full name.
That's true. You know what's important is in Indonesia we have 79 million children, so that's 1/3 of Indonesia's population, which means that we have a lot of impact from children to the nation. So we have their energy and we have a great future for the country because we have 1/3 of the population of children compared to other countries that have that's now having some crisis because they're having a low marital rates and much less children than the elderly population as well.
Yeah, but in Indonesia we live from the energy of the children, because they are also our future as well, and that's why one of the President Prabowo's initiative and program is to give more nutrition to Indonesian children.
So we're going in the right direction as well. And what's great about it is Indonesian children is one of the most expressive and social in Southeast Asia. And like we discussed earlier, many kids, especially in urban areas, can navigate gadgets before they can write their full names, like you mentioned before. And well, the good thing about children living in the rural areas is they have the chance to be outdoor more than children who lives in the urban area as well. So there's a lot of challenges that children face these days: social media, gadget dependency, academic pressure, and sometimes bullying online as well. So we're going to talk about that with our experts. In the meantime, let's begin. This is Starting Point. So before we dive into our topic today, we have another interesting update for you. This time we're going to go to South Africa because South Africa is welcoming world leaders for the upcoming G20 summit. Now the city of Johannesburg is intensively preparing for it, and Rahmat Idris is right now in Johannesburg bringing us the details. Rahmat?
Hi guys, greetings and warm welcome to Johannesburg, the largest city in South Africa, and the city is assuming the duty of being the host to the 20th G20 Leaders Summit right here where we are reporting now from Johannesburg's Expo Center. You can see in the back, that's where all the action is going to be taking place. World leaders from 20 member states of the Group of 20 or the G20 and 16 world leaders of invited countries and numerous chairmen and heads of related organizations, prominent organizations around the world, will convene right here on the 22nd and 23rd of November 2025. And throughout the year, as the presidency of this year's G20, South Africa, under the President Cyril Ramaphosa, has put together a lot of things on the table. The anti-immigration policy was discussed, ways to reduce debt ratio for developing economies, and more importantly, how the global communities are coming together to address all of the climate change-induced disasters around the globe. But alas, these issues are not synchronizing, are not resonating with the U.S. government, and thus notably a lot of scrutiny being paid into who's coming and who are not going to be here for the summit. The U.S., for example, Donald Trump has been saying no one from his administration will be here. China, President Xi Jinping is going to be absent. The Chinese Premier Li Qiang is going to be here. Another ally of the U.S., President Milei of Argentina, is not going to be here either. And also the President of Mexico, Paula Steinbaum, is going to be absent as well. And also in the last few years, we've seen the absence of the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin. Instead, in his place, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, will be at the deliberation table instead. But what's more interesting and very relatable to our country is the representation of Indonesia. We arrived very late at night here in Johannesburg thinking that we are going to be welcoming our President Prabowo Subianto, but it turned out that's not the case. The Vice President of Indonesia, Gibran Raka Buming Raka, is going to be here instead, alongside a number of cabinet ministers, to discuss some of the most pertinent matters to our countries and global communities. And if you can see it right there, that's going to be my headquarters. That is the media center for journalists hailing from around the globe. Hundreds upon hundreds of them are going to be there discussing, getting all the important feeds from the deliberations and bringing the news to the world. So we're going to be here for the next few days, bringing you all the nooks and crannies, all the deliverables and all the outcomes from the G20 Leader Summit all the way from Johannesburg. From South Africa, Rahmat Idris and Danu Dirja Mukti for TVR and World.
Thank you, Rahmat Idris. We are definitely waiting for your news about nooks and crannies in Johannesburg. And Rahmat Idris is looking super delighted being in Johannesburg at the moment. So have a lot of fun, and our best regard to everyone working from TVR World at Johannesburg at this moment for the G20.
Yes, because G20 is coming this weekend, the summit, and we will look forward for more from Rahmat Idris directly from Johannesburg. But meanwhile, here in Jakarta that we are staying in, we're going to take a very short break, and we'll be back only on Starting Point.
Stay close. Hello, good morning, Gracia.
Hello.
Nice to meet
Good morning.
you. So, should we call you Gracia? Is that how people usually call you?
People usually call me Yvonne.
Yvonne.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Gracia Yvonica. So, thank you, Yvonne, for joining us. I'm Uli. This is...
And I'm Aisha.
Aisha,
So
yes.
we'll be talking in a few moments. And
Yes. Yep. Okay.
looking forward to.
Thank you, Yvonne. Please stand by.
Noted. Thank you.
good morning. Welcome back to Starting Point, where we deliver news from home and around the world. We're live from Jakarta, weekdays from 8 to 9 a.m. in the morning, Western Indonesia time. And today is World Children's Day, so surely you have some updates that we can deliver to our viewers.
Yes, well, I was trying to figure out how to solve this Rubik puzzle. Children around the world is celebrating on November 20th, marking the anniversary of the creation of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. It highlights the importance of children's rights, their well-being as well, and the need to amplify their voices for the brighter future.
Every year, World Children's Day is celebrated on November 20th to commemorate two major milestones in global child protection. On this date in 1959, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. 30 years later, on 1989, the UN reaffirmed its commitment to children's rights through the adoption of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, or UNCRC. The Convention defines the essential rights and conditions that every child needs to grow, learn, and live a safe, healthy, and dignified life, regardless of gender, religion, culture, or ethnicity. These principles apply to all children and form the foundation of international efforts to safeguard the next generation. The idea of children's rights, however, predates the UNCRC. In 1919, Save the Children founder, Eglantine Jebb, introduced what was then considered a radical belief that children are entitled to food, healthcare, education, and protection from exploitation. Her progressive thinking was later formalized in the Declaration on the Rights of the Child, adopted by the League of Nations in 1924, which went on to influence subsequent UN declarations and conventions. UNICEF has announced that 2025 World Children's Day will carry the theme, My Day, My Rights. The theme underscores the importance of listening to children's voices and ensuring that they have the opportunity to express their views freely. It also emphasizes that every child's rights must be upheld without discrimination. Through this year's commemoration, UNICEF reiterates that every child deserves protection, opportunities to develop, and an environment that supports their well-being. World Children's Day serves as a global call to action, reminding the world to continue amplifying children's voices and advocating for their rights across all areas of life.
So, yes, I mean, I think it's so important for children to have the time to play. I mean, even adults needs time to play as well. I mean, this is a great idea for a morning show on television, you know?
Like, I will take like so much focus to solve this Rubik's, and I was like, oh my God, it's almost one line, and it, I still have a long way to go. Not like the do you know
What?
the youngest person who ever solved a Rubik puzzle?
I have a feeling that she's going to tell me about it. Okay, go on, tell us this story.
2-year-old, a 2-year-old
Oh my
from
goodness.
China.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
2-year-old.
Yeah, I think maybe that's luck.
Wow. Must have a laser focus ability
Yes.
to do things. I don't think this is like a fun game for someone with the ADHD tendency, you know? It's quite difficult to focus, but
Yeah, but maybe it can be also like a distraction while I'm not really focusing on, okay, where should I turn this to? But yeah, look, it's almost.
good job, Aisyah.
job.
Continue doing it.
Okay.
So,
Treat me
yeah,
like
I
a
mean-
child. Treat me like a child.
Play is something that is so important for children
Yeah.
and adults as well. And if we talk about games, I mean, let's go back to when we were, I don't know, when we were under 10 years old. What were the games that you usually play when you were still a child? Do you still remember?
Yep. I played a bicycle, of course.
You ride bicycles?
Yeah, I rode bicycles. Main karet.
Tricycle or bicycle?
Tricycle and bicycle.
Tricycle and bicycle. Okay, and then, you know, that game,
Yeah, the jumping rope.
jumping rope, rope jumping, and then what else?
I forgot the name, but you know when you like you hop from one box to another.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, there's this like, you know,
Yeah.
that game.
yeah.
That game. Wow.
And what other things? Oh, play tag, hide and seek.
Yeah,
That's my favorite. Hide and
Tag,
seek.
tag in Indonesian people, maybe children back then knows the name as, I think, benteng something.
Tak benteng.
Tak benteng.
Tak
That's
benteng.
right. That's right.
And then we also have tak jongkok.
Tak jongkok. And
Tak patung.
That's a lot of fun.
When you have to become a statue for like,
A certain amount of time.
yes.
Lucky
fun.
for us this morning, we don't need to be statues, and we need to talk more about children's education. And for that sake, that we're going to speak with our expert today. Since today is Children's Day, we want to dive into something that all parents, teachers, and honestly everyone wonders about. And the big question is, how do we really support a child's mental and emotional growth in today's world? So we're talking about from baby milestones to gadgets to bullying. There's a lot happening around children today, and that can be overwhelming. So this morning, we're going to try to make it simple, clear, and hopefully very helpful. So would you like to introduce our guest for this morning? Aisha
Yes,
Fabian?
I would like to introduce Gracia Ivonica, a clinical psychologist at Little Wonders, Jakarta. And she will emphasize the importance of providing age-appropriate stimulation aligned with each stage of development.
Great.
Because every age of a child is very important. So good morning, Yvonne.
Good morning, Yvonne. Thank you for being with us. How are you today?
I'm fine. Good morning, everyone. Hi.
Hello, hello. So let's start with the basics, Yvonne. When a baby goes through their first years, what are the mental and emotional milestones that parents should naturally expect to see from their child?
Okay, so basically the first year is the most important part. Yeah, because babies will experience so many rapid growth, especially in their brain development, emotional bonding, and also the early communication. Yeah, so let's say if we separate it to some months, yeah, in the early months, like 0 to 3 months, they started to recognizing familiar faces like their parents, and also by their voices, the familiar voices. Oh, this is my mom's voice, this is my daddy's voice, which it will build strong attachment between the parents and also the child. Yeah, and later on, during 3 to 6 months, they will experience more about being more expressive and also begin to responding the emotional cues. You know, so they usually likely to smile or even laugh with our jokes sometimes or our silly faces. Yes, they started to do that. And later on, during 6 to 9 months, they started to develop more stronger social awareness. And also they will begin understanding, like a simple cause and effect toys, let's say. You know, like the toys where we put something up here and then it can go down if we turn it around, you know, something like that, yeah? And by the end of the first year, it's the starting of the developing the communication through gestures, and also some of them starting to bubbling, yeah, having their own simple words, yeah, like mama, mama, papa, papa, yeah, that's the simple words like that, or yeah, bubbling basically, yeah. So that's the end of the first years. But basically, usually they still use gestures, yeah. So it's how their parents being very aware of their child, yeah, communicating, interacting consistently, so they can aware of what the meaning of the gesture. Yeah, basically like that.
Wow, that's so interesting. Aisha Fabian, do you still remember when your kid was still 1 year old? Although I know that now your son is already in college.
Yeah.
But can you still remember those early years?
Yes, of course. It's like, as Yvonne said, the first year is the most important year for the baby to grow. And for the first birthday, I was like, oh, celebrating his milestones, even though he just started to walk and he was just started to like, well, me and his dad were like not betting too, but okay, let's just hope that he will call out to me first and say my name first. But he calls me Bunda, so it's a bit harder.
Okay.
So, yeah, I have to give him some credit. But yeah, I agree with Yvonne that the first year is very important. And then we are going to go to the next step, which is toddler, and also it's called the golden age.
The golden age.
And do you think like how impactful from the first year, from like 0 year as the baby is born and then until they become toddler, the emotional state and the mental state that is being developed around the house, around their environment?
Yeah, technically, the first important part is during the pregnancy. So usually when people go to me, the parents, I will also ask about their history of the pregnancy. So is there any stress during the pregnancy? Is there any problems during the pregnancy? Because the emotional security develops starting from there. From the first day, the baby inside their mom's belly. Yeah. So if Aisha just now asked me whether how it's important affecting the children's mental health, the children's emotional state, it's of course starting during the first day they're in their mom's belly. Yeah, and then it's getting crucial and more crucial during the first year and also during the toddler years since 1 year above, 1 year to 3 years. So basically during that age, what happened is the child starting to develop communication well, develop their awareness more also to their environment. So how their parents being a role model for them is also very, very important because they learn from observation. Yeah, so every words that we say, every actions that we do, children will also observe and also they will process in their mind. Oh, maybe for example, when the parents is become very emotional, let's say, very stressed, and they show it to their children, not in a good way, the children also will perceive it as, oh, okay, it's okay then. If I'm angry or if I'm stressed, I can also do the same thing because that's what they learn from their environment. Yeah.
Wow, so absolutely important to pay attention to children even when they're still during in their mother's belly, because that's something that we should consider. So the mother's happiness and the environment is something crucial as well for the development of the children. And then after the baby is born, like Yvonne explained earlier, there are some stages that we need to pay attention to, and then they grew older, and then we start to pay attention to their surroundings and how they play, their gadgets and stuff like that as well.
Yep. Yeah. That's why it's very important to pay more attention to their moms.
Yes, ma'am. I will remember that for the rest of my life.
And well, as Yvonne also mentioned before, and how even from the very, very early age, the stimulation in children's minds is very important. And there are also a number of child educations that emphasize that play is one of the most effective ways to stimulate a child's brain development, as it helps enhance their cognitive abilities, creativity, motor skills, and also social emotional growth.
Okay, let's take a look at this video.
Experts explain that childhood is a golden period that requires proper stimulations. They describe playing as an easy, affordable, and enjoyable method to help children develop their full brain potential. A child's brain is often compared to a sponge that quickly absorbs new experiences, making playing a relevant and practical medium for learning. In their presentation, child education specialists recommended 9 types of games considered the most effective. Puzzles, which help train focus, patience, and problem-solving skills. Sandbox play, including similar tactile activities such as Play-Doh and modeling clay, which stimulate creativity and imagination. Crossword puzzles, which enrich vocabulary, sharpen memory, and strengthen analytical abilities. Sudoku, a number-based game suitable for elementary school children as it requires logic and concentration. Hide and Seek, a traditional game that develops intuition, analytical skills, and physical activity. Block building, which encourage focus, creativity, and structural thinking. Mazes, which require children to find solutions through winding paths, reinforcing concentration and fine motor skills.
The golden years of being a child, those years that we have great memories about. And I remember when I was still a kid, when we were growing up in the Aceh province, there used to be several games that we used to play with our friends, and one of them is called Patok Lele.
Okay.
I don't, probably here in Jakarta, people knows it as Gatri or something.
Oh,
Are you familiar with
no.
it? So Patok Lele is a game for children back then in the 80s or 90s. That involved
where we didn't have any gadget, electronics,
Dude.
even
What?
no TV.
People back then was like, digital? What is digital? The internet was not even created at that time. The internet was here at, I know, the year 2000s, right? So back to the topic, the Patok Lele, it requires 2 kind of stick. Actually, Patok kind of means like wooden stick, and Lele means catfish. So it reflects the action that you do when you're trying to get a catfish. So you snap on the smaller wood, and then you hit it like a baseball, and then someone over there will catch it and then throw it back, and stuff like that. It's quite, it's come to think of it, it's a bit quite dangerous as well because it's a wooden stick flying to your face. But back then it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah. But when we look at the visuals earlier, I don't think that I'm good at any of the puzzle, but I would choose block building.
Block building.
But do you remember?
Yeah.
Around the 90s,
Right.
that we have the block buildings, not, Lego is already exists.
Like Lego,
that.
sort of like a Lego.
But I was talking about the wooden block building.
Like
where,
this?
Yeah, no, but like Yeah. But the block building where you stack it up and then you make a castle.
Oh, like an Uno? No, not really.
No, it will be like stacked up like here, and it will make a castle because I'd like to play princess as well.
Oh, wow, okay.
You don't know that?
No.
Okay.
Enlighten me with more stories about you being a princess.
No.
Okay, so why don't we talk to our expert? So back with our clinical psychologist, Yvonne. Thank you for still being here with us. Let's continue our conversation. We just talked earlier about games and plays that children like to do, but sometimes, especially for new parents, it's quite confusing to choose the kind of games or toys that they need to give to a certain age. Can you enlighten us a little bit about how to choose the right toys for children in different age range?
Okay, so basically before we understand what kind of toys that we should give to the children, we need to understand the stages of their development first, yeah, what we usually understand with milestone. Okay, so as we all know, the first year, what the toys that they should use, it should be safe, right? Should be safe. Why? Because they still put everything in their mouths. So what we need to make sure is, okay, the toys is safe enough where it's soft, maybe, and it's clean. Yeah, make sure to clean everything. Yeah, and also during the first months, yeah, basically they cannot see clearly about colors, right? So usually they use contrast toys,
Okay.
the black
Interesting.
and white or red usually, yeah. And then starting getting older, by the end of the first year, usually they start to use because they already can sitting down. Yeah, they can play some toys that they can stack around, even though they still cannot stack it properly. That's okay. It's the starting point of where they start to use the toys, right? And then after the first years, usually they start to improve their logical thinking, their also understanding more about cause and effects, toys. Yeah, so we can use some kind of simple, very simple puzzle for the first year. Also, like the role-playing toys, yeah, to improve their imagination. Also, it helps as the media for the parents and the children to play together, right? The role-playing, yeah, like oh, I'm being the doctor and you're being the patient, things like that, because they're starting to understand about their surroundings, yeah. And as well as the after the 2 years and up, usually the toys will be more challenging, yeah, like the puzzle will be more challenging. Also the, let's say, the blocks or Lego will be also challenging, yeah. So it improves based on their milestone, yeah. But one thing for sure, also we need to understand our children, yeah.
Yep.
Every children has their own pace in growing, yeah. So whenever we see like, oh, my the other child can solve maybe 20 puzzles, oh, my child still cannot, yeah, don't worry too fast, because we need to understand whether oh, maybe that child is a fast learner child, yeah. And that's okay if we are staying in our milestone with our child, that's okay too, yeah. So don't push your child to make the toys or playing time as a competition, like a competition, or things that we kind of push our children to solve or achieve things by solving the toys. Because sometimes my clients, some of the parents also being very competitive, yeah, they provide all of the toys, even it's not on the appropriate age for their child, yeah. But they always provided many toys and expect them to solve it faster. But yeah, that's stressed out the parents as well, right? Yeah, so it's the playing become not fun anymore.
That's right.
Yep.
So, ambition sometimes doesn't really suit
Yeah.
children, especially at their age.
Yeah, that's why I really agree with you, Yvonne, because it is also like a dilemma maybe for some parents as well. They see, like now you can find at the toy store, it's already like age appropriate from arranged by the age. But then you think that, okay, this is now, my child can now play this, but you have to see as well whether your child or your children are ready to for that toys, right? And also another thing to remember is the choking hazard,
Okay.
as well, the safety from the toys to the children. But if we can ask you, like personally, what is your favorite toys as a child?
technically I don't really remember, but what I remember is I didn't like Barbie or dolls, you know, even though I'm a girl, yeah. But I remember that I used to play outside with my friends, you know, like playing bicycle and also like hide and seek. I also played that, and also I remembered I also have had to use like a house and a sliding, you know, in the garden that I usually play around with my friends in there. Yeah, usually I play active activity, I think, yeah, back then.
Okay.
Okay, so speaking about activities, Yvonne, what about traditional games that children used to play with their friends maybe in the 90s or in the 80s or probably now still in the rural areas, games like Congklak or Gobak Sodor or Engklek or Bentengan or Engrang. Are these games or these plays are still relevant these days, especially for children in the urban areas? And maybe you can chip in and tell us a little bit about how these games is actually really useful and will impact children's development, Yvonne.
Okay, so the answer should absolutely yes. Yeah, so these traditional games, it's like a never-ending game basically. But the fact that it's become less popular, it's just because these days the parents are not really exposed that to their children, including at school. You know, like school also sometimes they catch up with the era, right? So they
Right.
didn't really provide the traditional games anymore, or even like let the students also aware of that traditional games. Yeah, but the benefits, of course, it's still amazing. Yeah, let's say just now it's Congklak, right? Like Congklak, it's very helpful for maintaining the focus. Yeah, taking turns. Okay, and we called it also as joint attention, where we play it with other friends, right? So we need to also not just paying attention on us, on our part, but we need to also put attention to how others put strategy, let's say. Yeah, and just now I remembered Aisha forget about the name. It's called hopscotch.
Hopscotch.
The hopscotch where we
Hopscotch,
jump,
yes.
jump. Yeah.
Okay.
And in Indonesia, in bahasa?
Hopscotch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also it's also beneficial for many aspects, yeah. The physical, the motoric aspect, yeah, the gross motor, because we need to jump, we need to
Right.
jump on the right box, right? And
Yes,
also we need to
that's
put
right.
attention, yeah, to the path as
Okay.
well. Yeah, maintaining our fast pace.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that you
All of that
mentioned
basically
about
is very
Congklak
beneficial.
earlier, also known as Dakon. You know, it's a strategy-based counting game that trains skills, concentration, etc. How about Gobak Sodor? What's the benefit of this particular game that children used to play?
Robot Sodor used to play in team, right? So basically, it's beneficial for social interaction, you know, like teamwork, and also the logical part where they need to put strategy, fast thinking, right? They need to fastly think. Oh, maybe I need to go here. I need to go here. So everything is stimulated, yeah. Cognitive aspect, the motoric aspect, and also the social emotional aspect by doing it in a teamwork.
That is so great.
Yes.
We should probably play Gobak Sodor more as an adult as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Right after this, maybe,
Right
yeah.
after this. How about Engklek then?
Engklek.
Yes.
Yeah, Engklek is also very beneficial for the gross motor, right? Because it's the main part of the game. Yeah, especially the gross motor. But they're also if we specify it, it's like the vestibular part, which the balancing, right? The balancing part, it's also very stimulated in Engklek. Yeah, and also the focus. Yeah, and social part, the self-esteem, you know, like being brave enough to
Yeah.
to believe in their self. Okay, I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. This is engklek, the
hopscotch,
Yes.
Oh, the hopscotch, yeah.
Yeah,
Hopscotch, that's right.
engklek, yeah, that's right. And being competitive as well from an early age.
How about Engrang?
Engrang?
Do you still remember Engrang?
Yes, I cannot play engrang.
Yeah, the one with the stick, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that one, yeah. I think I mismatched with engklek and engrang. Just now I said about engrang, so they should be very focused and very believe in themselves that they can do it, right?
Yeah.
It's mostly with the balancing part from the gross motor activity, yeah. So if they are not really firm when they stand up there, they will be fall down, right?
Right.
Including when they walk. If they are not firm, they are not believing in themselves, they should be fall, right?
Right.
And also the vestibular part, the balancing.
That is
from gross
really
motor.
interesting. I mean, these games, when you look at the visuals right now, all the memories
Yeah.
comes back, and you remember the good times that you had with your friends playing all these games and learning about a lot of stuff. So I was just wondering, you're a clinical psychologist. So are these games still relevant for you as a clinical psychologist to use as a methodology for the children that you work with?
Technically, of course, by the benefits, yes. So usually I work with children early years, which is from 1 to 5 years old. Yeah, and usually my clients, they come to me also with the problems, right? Like where they are understimulated from the sensory and also the motor aspects. Like so, I need to also work on with my occupational therapist, speech therapist, most of them, yeah. But if we talk about the traditional games, usually this kind of activity also used by the occupational therapist, where they do the sensory integration therapy, yeah, because all of that stimulating the sensory and motor aspects in children development, right? Yeah, so basically it's still useful, but maybe not as in per se like the traditional instruction of the
Right.
games, you know, like we modify it to be more fun, to be more updated as well.
Okay, I think the updated method from traditional toys can really be adapted to children this day as well, because we would like to pass down our legacy to our children. And we are going to pass down some more information about children's well-being on Starting Point, because we are celebrating World Children's Day, but we are going to take a very short break.
We'll be back after these messages. Stay close to Starting Point. Welcome back to Starting Point. Look at this, not bad, right?
Yeah, you just develop your sensory
A bit later in life, but you know,
sensory
still
ability.
works.
Because there's a not an issue, but it's something that we should be aware of in the children's stage of development, that is sensory disorders, where children have become an increasingly important issue in modern child development, according to clinical psychologist Gracia Ivonica, that is still with us also. Early signs of sensory difficulties can appear as early as infancy or toddlerhood, and if left unidentified may lead to serious developmental challenge.
Sensory nerves are a crucial part of the human nervous system. They allow the body to receive information from the environment, ranging from touch and sound to balance. This information is then transmitted to the brain to be processed and converted into an appropriate response. According to child psychologist at Little Wonders, Jakarta Gracia Ivanica, sensory disorders can be detected at an early stage. Some warning signs include a child's aversion to certain textures, excessive fear of loud noises, being a picky eater and rejecting new foods, frequent falling or bumping into objects and avoiding playground equipment such as slides and swings. Maintaining healthy sensory function in children is crucial because it is directly linked to their ability to interact with their environment. When sensory processing is disrupted, a child's motor, cognitive, and social development may be delayed. As a result, children may face challenges in learning and interacting with peers. The role of sensory nerves in brain development is also significant. Children who are able to respond appropriately to sensory input tend to develop stronger fine and gross motor skills, improved social abilities, and better academic readiness. Treatment for sensory disorders may include various forms of therapy, ranging from sensory integration therapy to physical therapy, which help children respond more effectively to stimuli. Early detection is essential, as timely intervention greatly increases the likelihood of children adapting and developing optimally.
What an
Yes.
interesting topic, Aisha Fabian.
Yeah, sensory is very important. Like even this doll
That is
I
sensory, you know, like a
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
feel
yeah. And then it has like different materials.
This smells good.
I know, right?
That's
Thank
also
you.
sensory, you know?
Yes, yes. And then from the early age, the children can
Did you spray perfume on this?
do not get distracted.
Okay.
Do not get distracted because it's
Sorry.
it's a sensory for you, and like I was explaining, like this, it will give you like different sensory and stimulation, like
Like for
different
the touch,
fabric.
right?
Yes, different sensory. Or maybe we can ask Yvonne to
I
confirm.
think that's a better idea to talk to expert about.
But I used to be a early childhood teacher as well.
Oh, wow, we didn't know that. You're an early childhood teacher, seriously?
Yes, for like toddlers and
Cool.
and kindergarten.
That
Teaching
is,
English.
That is the coolest thing I find about you.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk
Okay.
to Yvonne then. Hi, Yvonne, are you
Yvonne?
still here with us?
Help me out here and confirm how sensory is very important
Yeah.
for children's growing phases, and also so it can minimize the sensory disorders. And what does it mean?
What is sensory
Yeah.
disorder?
What does it mean with sensory disorder at the first place?
Okay, so first thing is the learning process from children. Basically, there is what we call as a pyramid of learning. Yeah, so the pyramid of learning, in the basic part, the most foundation part is the sensory processing. Yeah, so it's related about our senses, all of our senses, the tactile, the gustatory, the auditory, visual, and everything. Yeah, so basically it's the first basic foundation of learning. So as also the video said just now, if there is something problem during the developing the sensory and motor part, motor skill part, so it can affect later on the learning process. Yeah, either way, it's can affecting the cognitive aspect, the emotional, or the social, or maybe like the focus, attention, things like that. And it can become very random. Let's say if like a child having problem in their sensory aspect, and then they can lead to emotional problem. The other child, the same sensory problem, they can lead to speech delay or anything.
wow.
Like so as what Aisha said about the texture from that doll, that's also related to tactile processing. That's the it can be different texture. It's also related to gustatory eating process. Some child doesn't like a very solid texture. They don't really like it. Like they will split it out. It means like there maybe there's something wrong, or maybe it's not really optimal in their gustatory processing. So whenever parents realize, okay, my child's showing problem patterns, in terms of processing this texture, or processing the stimulus like high sound, high volume, or maybe like a very colorful place like playgrounds. It can be also overstimulating children. So whenever parents realize or identify any kind of issue in there's nothing wrong with checking it earlier, right? Because the early intervention is the better, especially in golden years, right? So the sensory disorder, or what we usually call as sensory processing disorder. So basically, it's not like autism. It's different with autism. It's different with ADHD or other neurodevelopmental disorder. But they have issue. The main issue is in the sensory processing by their senses. So usually what they help is by the sensory integration therapy. Usually.
Okay, but it is interesting that you said it is good to recognize it from the very early stage, but sometimes parents tends to deny that their children may be having difficulties or not a problem, but they just, no, it's okay, and they deny it.
It's true. That's the one of the challenge that I also faced for many parents. That's how the parents basically very anxious of being aware of all of that problems in children. So they are really concerned, but in a way sometimes they will like compare it to other children, and also compare it to, it's still they are still young, that's okay, they are still growing, and also the grandparents sometimes, because they are not really aware of that, they can also influence the parents to not really worry, but the fact that it's the sign that they should be aware of, they should do something about it. So sometimes it can be like influenced by also the extended family, which the denial phase is not it's not also affecting the parents, but also affecting the extended family sometimes. That's the problem. So that's why many educational informations right now that can be accessed by many people, including the older adults. So it's okay if we kind of discuss and also share to our parents, as a parent to our parents, that it's better to be checked rather than we keep denying or keep assuming the good things, but we didn't do any early intervention for our children.
Okay, so Yvonne, before we end our conversation, very quickly, what are the key takeaways that you'd like to tell parents and people who handle children so they could have a good baseline from our conversation this morning on how to deal with children so that children can have a better development in the future?
Okay, for the highlight, I will highlight two things, which is the first thing is the emotional security. When we talk about children, we need to make sure that they feel safe in this world, starting from their early years of their life. And it's starting from the microsystem, which is the closest person or people around them, yeah, which are the parents, okay, the caregiver, and also maybe the any other people who lives together with the children, yeah. So, and providing a safe and also warm environment is very, very important to help the children to develop the baseline of their emotional security. The second is also we need to be aware, yeah, of any updated information about children, so we can also be the first person who aware and realize if there are some red flags that we need to be put attention on, or we need to do something about it. We need to check, we need to do early intervention for the children. So it helps the children to grow better whenever they have problems during in their development stage.
Gracias, Ifonica. Thank you so much for being with us today and for sharing insights that are both practical and heartwarming. And parenting in 2025 can feel overwhelming, but conversations like this morning reminds us that essentials never really change: presence, communication, and consistency.
Yes, and as we celebrate World Children's Day today, we have to remember as well that every child is unique, as Yvonne also explained to us. So thank you again for your time, and thank you so much for watching us. I'm Aisha Fabian.
I'm Uli Herdi. Once again, it's World Children's Day, so let's celebrate our children, because children are the future, and we will see you next time on Starting Point. Take care and bye-bye.
Bye.